Look, the Chicago Bears just got even more encouraging news during this offseason. And I hear you guys. The Bears O line, absolutely terrible. But getting lost in the shuffle is how good our lone building block has actually been. And that's our guy, Darnell Wright. And I'm telling you, you got to look at that. You got to look at it the right way, though. It's so encouraging if you do. And we're looking at PFF labeling him as the Bears' secret superstar. Now, you guys let us know in the comments, who is your secret superstar? Who's the unsung hero? Who's the guy that's not getting any love? Leave it in the comments. We'll chop it up and get a little creative. Let's not just do cookie cutter responses. So as far as him being the secret superstar of this team, this is a story on PFF. You guys, when you get a chance, read the whole story. It goes through every team in the NFL. It's a lot of fun to go through. So I actually agree with this. I think Darnell Wright's the player who's ready to launch into being one of the best linemen in the league. And I think he's almost already there if you look at the stats in a certain way. So we're looking at last season. Not good for the Bears O-line, right? Caleb Williams sacked a team record 68 times. Every sack wasn't the offensive line's fault, but they've got to take ownership of it. Plus, the coaching was terrible. Let's hear straight from the article. Discourse about how bad the offensive line was never ceased in the Chicagoland area, but Wright, he actually turned in a very strong year too. We're looking at the former first-round pick. He was the Bears' highest graded starter on either side of the ball, 79.3 overall, while playing 1,021 snaps as other offensive linemen. Everybody was banged up. Wright improved both his run blocking and his pass blocking grades by at least 14 points from the previous year, and that's also while registering 3 fewer penalties. The Bears will probably invest more along their offensive line this offseason, but right tackle, it appears to be in strong hands with Darnell Wright. Now, let's dig into this a little bit. Let's see how his progress has been a bit hidden when you just look at the raw numbers, and I think this is really where the teeth of this argument is. We can do the easy read first. We don't have to replace this full line because Wright's been the real deal. Started all 33 games. He's been in all 33 games, and he's been a starter, and that's over his first 2 seasons. He's already one of the top young linemen in the game, but his year in 2023 started out a little rocky. He had some rookie moments, but he clearly looked like the anchor the Bears have needed at right tackle. So from that 2023 season, big expectations were there coming in 2024. And the year, once again, it started out rough, kind of a mixed bag, mostly good, rocky plays. But then we're talking about a second-year player that had something click during the first Green Bay game. And I think the true measure of who he's become is looking at what he did following that game. So let's, for all intents and purposes, let's focus on week 11 till the finale. Totally different story. During that time, he only allowed 3 hurries the rest of the year. In his second year on just a brutal offensive line, he had absolutely zero help. He only allowed just 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits for the duration. And to be frank, this guy needs to perform, right? His 2024 season, it came with super high expectations. The guy measured up when you look at the stats properly. And he has to also because the Bears passed on Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter. They passed up on him to select Wright. Always meant the microscope was going to be on him in comparison to that player. And all things considered, rightfully so. Carter's been an absolute stud for Philly, important piece of the Lombardi trophy that they just won. Darnell Wright needs to continue to ascend. So let's kind of look just strictly by the numbers. 1,021 snaps, only 6 sacks allowed, but most of them were on the front end. 21 hurries, 30 pressures, only 2 at the end of the season. Penalties, 8. Run block grade, 82.2. Pass block grade, 75.4. Once again, that seems a bit meh. But once again, from week 11 on, one of the best tackles in the NFL. And the guy needs to consistently prove that that's who he is. And if we can have the second half version of him that we saw, 100% the building block on this team's line. Question marks almost everywhere on the offensive line as well. We really need him to measure up. The first half version looks to be gone, in my opinion. I truly believe that. And that's because we have Dan Rouchar as an elite coach. Regression should not be a problem under his tutelage. The guy's already flashing. This is potentially a Pro Bowl caliber tackle for years to come. Elite coaching now. We should have the player that he was from week 11 on permanently. Finishing the year so well on a line that was complete chaos under just a silly coaching staff. We'll leave it at that. In my opinion, my friends, that's a building block. Better yet, let's look at his cost, what this guy is costing us right now. And this is exciting. His contract status. He's only entering the third season of his rookie deal. That contract was a 4-year, $20.9 million agreement. He's going to make just over $1 million in base salary in 2025. He'll get a $3 million prorated signing bonus, a $1.62 million roster bonus as well. And his cap hit for next year is still only going to be $5.17 million. But let's be honest, he can't do it on his own. He's come to the defense. Caleb Williams has come to the defense of the line. He said there was a stupid connotation around the unit. I'm not sure what that means. But they didn't grade out particularly well for the season. And let's go back to PFF. They recently shared their offensive line rankings. The Bears fell into the bottom tier, no surprise. They ended the season with the 24th ranked offensive line out of 32 teams. 24th in the PFF offensive line rankings. Let's remember there are 32 teams. That's not a good ranking. Very bad. But here's what Zoltan Boudet had to say from PFF about the line specifically. While Chicago's offensive line failed to reach the potential many saw in it during the preseason, the unit was better than many gave it credit for. I'm trying to engender a little bit of hope. For the Bears, 5 projected starters earned PFF overall grades of above 70 and all 5 top 65. However, injuries, Caleb Williams' pocket movement, awareness, it did the group no favors, resulting in the line allowing the most sacks in the NFL. The Bears may have surrendered the most sacks in the league. I'm going to say this. I'm going to share this just because I think it's nonsense. Sometimes these PFF ratings are nonsense. They are only the 12th worst offensive line in PFF pass blocking efficiency rating at 84. The unit allowed 180 total pressures on 682 pass plays. Like, how is that good? 180 total pressures on 682 pass plays. That's awful. And somehow PFF is ranking them the 12th worst offensive line in pass blocking efficiency. I mean, I don't believe that. I think the 24th ranking is more accurate. But regardless, Wright was the bright spot. We're looking at, once again, for his play in the season, he was graded out as the 5th best right tackle this season. Now, that's encouraging. That's who he is. He trailed only Green Bay's Zach Tom, Detroit's Sewell, Minnesota's Brian O'Neill, and Philadelphia's Lane Johnson. So that's fantastic company. He graded out as the 5th best right tackle all season. The irony on that list, 4 of the 5 top right tackles in the NFL this season, they came from the NFC North, and the others from a perennial Super Bowl contender. Just, we play in a bruising division, and to be compared with the 4th guy out of that group is a Super Bowl contender. I mean, I think that's just fantastic. The Bears project to have $66 million in available cap space. That's from over the cap. But once we make cuts, once we make some moves, we could have up to $85 to $90 million in cap space. We also have the number 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, 2 second-round selections that are among the top 10 on day 2. This office could do some extreme heavy lifting in free agency and on NFL draft weekend in the team's attempt to rebuild the offensive line. I think, who do we got? Our left tackle and Jones, Braxton Jones might be ready for the season. He could very well hold that down. I'm looking at us replacing 2 guards and a center in the draft or free agency. We can't put all our eggs in the Trey Smith basket. He might not be available. Really love the tackle out of LSU. He could even slide into guard. Would love to see how Karan Amagaje looks once camp starts and he actually gets a real offseason to get ready for the season. Elite coaching with Dan Rushar. We also need to get a center. I absolutely love Drew Dahlman, and I think I'm not alone in that. You guys let me know, who is your secret superstar in the Chicago Bears. Would you like to see these changes that I talked about on the offensive line as well? If not, who's your guy? Bear down, you guys, and we'll talk soon. See ya.